messing with the camera. Let me know when you're good. Okay. Okay. And is it going? Hey everybody, we're still, as per tradition, getting set up, dealing with the phone telling me that we have poor connection, all sorts of stuff. Hey Penny. La la la. It has been an adventurous week, to put it mildly. What have we even done since last week? Like, there's been so much going on. I don't even know what last week was. Like, well, first off, I am full on sunburnt. I don't know if y'all can see this, but that white streak in the middle, that's the color I usually am. The question is, where should I get birthstone beads from? I really enjoy Fire Mountain Gems if you're doing like a great big order, but it's hard to beat eBay because you can buy directly from the manufacturers, and so it kind of cuts out the middleman, but you kind of have to wait like at least 30 days for your package to arrive most of the time. Hey Jessica, welcome to our live stream. I'm so glad you were able to join us. I'm glad all y'all were able to join us. I'm doing a live stream? Oh my gosh. So yeah, Randy, my partner back here, if you want to wave, Randy. Waving. He is going to be moderating for me today, keeping the trolls under control.
As per tradition.
As per tradition, as well as helping me keep up with all of, I just brain farted so hard. Yeah, all the questions that I might miss. Yeah. Oh, we have snow. See, it's such nice, like,
Wait,
this,
has snow?
this in Scotland. This is the color I usually am. This is the color I am today, you guys. I cannot even believe, like, you can see whenever it turns white whenever oh my gosh, it hurts so bad. Ooh. Right on. They're getting snow in Minnesota as well. But it was yesterday, Randy and I went out and we found out that Lowe's gives away free wood. They're called bearers, I think. They're the thing that go like in the lumber section. There's all these stacks of lumber, whether it's like the plywood or 2x4s or whatever. And they have these boards underneath there that the straps wrap around, and it lifts up just enough that the pallets can get, the pallet jacks can get underneath there and lift everything. And they just throw them into this bin for people to take however they want. And Randy and I got like 20 of them and put legs on one rabbit hutch that was given to us for a friend, and then built an entire other rabbit hutch. So that's why I'm all crispy. Yeah, right? And that's, of course, I get a really deep burn like this, like every 2 years, because I'm out of sunblock from last time I got burnt and went and bought a ton of it so that this wouldn't happen again. But I usually use the aerosol stuff because that way I can just, like, a bottle in each hand and just, like, put, like, earplugs up my, yeah, just like that. But that way this doesn't happen. All I wanted was an even skin tone. But never. So I'm going to have to, like, cover myself in, like, coconut oil and go lay in the sun and just deep fry evenly. Y'all are just teasing me now. So that's why I'm not wearing my little vest thing today, is because I don't want anything touching that. Okay. Oh, what am I doing?
What are you even doing?
What am I even doing with my life? I'm trying to find out where all the comments are so I can talk to people.
If you have a tutorial for the leather vest you wear all the time, I would love one. Not sure what it's called, but it keeps things in place.
The leather vest that I usually use, I call it a bralette because it kind of like sits like that, or just like a mini vest, or the leather thing that I usually use to hold my boobs up. will have a tutorial coming out probably in the next 2 weeks. I was backlogged with some videos, like the belly dance belt tutorial that came out yesterday was the last video that I had shot and had edited and uploaded. So now we're going to be getting, yeah, we just rushed. That's hilarious, James. Oh, that's a good question. With all the different projects and stuff that I do, how do I manage my time? To put it very shortly and succinctly, I don't. I'm a disaster, you guys. Oh my gosh, if it weren't for this gentleman over here in the blue shirt, I would not be fed. I probably wouldn't bathe as much as I should. The house would never get anything done. I do wear my vest as a support bra. I don't wear anything else underneath it. I just wear it like as is. But yeah, I'm horrible at time management. Whenever all of the stars align, we actually will get a list made of everything, and that's like, I'm doing a little better. I have my handy dandy clipboard of awesomeness, that I lost one of the parts of, so now I can't find, but like we've got a whole binder of just orders that people have placed with all of their contact info, because I was talking to everybody through like Facebook, but then Facebook started messing up, so I started talking to everybody through my email. I do make a lot of stuff sized for kids upon request, and we do free repairs, but like probably the best seller that we have for kids is our stretchy chainmail, because it's very easy to take on and off. It's not horribly expensive. So if they lose it, you're out like $10-15. Boo, boo, boo. How do I found you, chat box. When you make a tutorial on the vest, we try to make it accessible to all sizes. Oh yeah, definitely. I'm going to show you guys, we just recently actually got a custom order for a 40G vest. So I think that's what I'm going to be showing in the video, is I'm going to be making that one, as well as one that fits our mannequins, which is like a 32A. So to show you the differences, like, I mean, those are two kind of rather, like, two ends of the spectrum, but you can apply those, because we get people who come through who are triple Ds, but have like a 34 torso. So it's like, people come in so many different shapes and sizes, and we really do try to design for everybody. Right on. Yeah, and I like it because it gets that, like, Victoria's Secret push-up bra cleavage, but it doesn't have all the padding rounding out the sides, so, like, it's not getting in the way of my arms when I'm, like, arting, because, like, there's nothing worse than having to, like, scoop your boob up out of the way to be able to, like, do what you're trying to do in the, like, especially, like, in the garden. Like, sometimes I'll get, like, tangled up on myself. And Randy's back here shamelessly plugging his videos. Yeah, the black eye whenever you bend over. Not so much, because mine's a half, like a dummy style. The question is, how do you keep yourself motivated and inspired? I don't know. That's a really good question. I'm pretty addicted to just the creative process. Like, that, how's it going? How's it going to come out? Like, what's going to happen? I'm also very financially motivated. I have lots of stuff that I want and need to buy, and bills that need paid, and like a crushing mushroom cloud of student loan debt, and lots of things that I'd like to get paid off. And this was something that I found that let me be very creative and crafty and just make stuff all the time. Because, like, even whenever I had, like, 9 to 5 working for somebody else, I'd come home and still make stuff. So even when I'm exhausted, like, I gotta make something, man. But then also it gave me a route that lets me buy more beads and plants and different things like that. So, as far as designs go, I get inspired a lot by a lot of other artists. Like, a lot of y'all, are sending me pictures of your work on Facebook and stuff, and you guys are so creative. Like, you think of things that I would have never thought of, and so it's like I'm constantly getting my mind blown by the creativity of other people, and that kind of, will be like, oh, well, what if I took that and did this with it, and then kind of like just evolving on top of each other and stuff, and it's pretty cool, I think. There is colored chainmail. It's called anodized aluminum, but you can also get, like, plated rings and different stuff. Yeah, well, thank you, Jessica. do you think it would be wearable underclothing like a traditional bra? If you had a full coverage one, I think so. And depending on the material of the shirt, like if it's a real drapey, fine, like, fabric that you're wearing over it, it would be kind of obvious. But if it's just like a regular t-shirt, you should be fine. This is some colored aluminum rings that we have. And aluminum anodizes really well. They also have anodized niobium, which gets a different set of color schemes. But it's pretty cool.
Pricing products for sale. I'm never sure how to price things to cover the material / time, etc.
It's actually my sunburn. It doesn't, like, people are like, have Randy put vinegar on it. I have a body skin oil that it's, and a lot of people are like, don't put oil on it, but it's like, I don't mind the heat. I mind the dry, like, hurt of it. And so, like, my sunburn's fine. But the question was, what was the question? How I do my pricing. With my pricing, before I even consider the... Yeah, go for it. Whenever I'm doing my pricing, sorry, brain farting again. Thanks, Penny. Okay, focus, Vaughn. We can do this. Whenever I'm doing my pricing, before I even consider any of the amount of time or anything that what goes into the piece, I figure out how much it actually cost me. So I start whenever I get a bead order in. I look at it and I'm like, okay, this was a 16-inch strand of 6mm beads, and it cost me like $4. And so I'll figure out how many beads were actually on that 16-inch strand, and I'll figure out the price per bead, and I write it on a little note and put it in the tray. That way 3 months from now, whenever I'm using those beads again, I'll still remember. And so I'll figure up, and I do that for all the items that were used in my piece. Like with a fresh spool of like wire, it's like, okay, this is 200 feet. If I use roughly a foot of wire, this is the cost per foot for this. And sometimes I get a little bit more estimating and stuff, but
who's your supplier on wire?
Parawire is my supplier for wire. That I buy from them almost exclusively, because they have everything that I need, and it's all really durable and very affordable. Then, so if a piece costs me $5 to make after everything, before considering time, I will not charge less than $15 for that piece. Because it's like, I have to stay in business, somehow. And then I start figuring in, the cost for time, because there's some pieces like a bead strung necklace that's just like gemstone beads. Those don't take me very long to make, but they're a little bit more expensive in materials because it's a lot of gemstone beads. It's a lot of like bead caps and metal and stuff. And so with the pieces like that, it kind of finds a balance. And then with the wire wrapping, especially the wire woven pieces, where it might use like $3 worth of wire, but I'm not selling that for $9 because it took me 12 hours. So it's you'll find a balance there, and you have to set your own value, or someone else will. And I can almost guarantee you people are always going to undervalue your time and energy and effort and work and the amount of time that it's taken you to build up your skill set and all of that. So, define yourself, determine your value, and then go from there. So, yeah. I hope that was helpful. I like Parawire. The question is, why do I choose Parawire over bead landing? And it's I found that their silvers are so much more durable and don't turn like yellow and stuff. Also, I don't know if bead landing has the half round and the square wires, but I really like getting that, and the diversity of color. The fact that my necklace that I actually broke it, the inside wire broke. But the wire wrapping on it, I've been wearing that necklace, almost all the time for like 8 years. And I have very acidic skin, and it still hasn't, eaten through the enameling to show the copper core. And so, I really, really like Parawire. And then also, I'm a little biased because they promote some of our tutorials on their page. So I get, periodic, like, here's a gift certificate for this much in exchange for us having your tutorials up. So I'm like, okay. But honestly, if it weren't durable, if it weren't as affordable as it is, then I wouldn't use it because excuse me. Because I don't want people to buy stuff from me, you know, pay $150 for a necklace and then come back a couple years later and be like, why is it copper colored instead of silver the way it was when I ordered it? Excuse me.
You want some water?
Maybe, yeah.
Okay.
I have some water with coffee in it over here that should do me pretty good.
Okay, have you ever made any headdresses?
The question is, have I ever made any headdresses? And I have. I really like them. I only have one tutorial up currently of like a wire circlet, but I really enjoy making like leather crowns with like twisted horns and stuff. Like that's going to be another tutorial that's hopefully up and coming, because we have our next event is Anime St. Louis in St. Louis in St. Charles actually. And I need a lot of inventory for that one because we do really well there. And I want to bring, like, our A game to kind of really be like, haha. And I hope that makes sense. But so I need to make some of these headdresses. But it's going to have a dragon eye set in the forehead. And then it's all, like, leather. And it has these, like, double sculpted horns coming out. And I'll show y'all how to make it. It'll be good. Next question?
Next question is, I don't have funds to do conventions yet. What is the best way to advertise online?
Okay. The question is, I don't have funds to do conventions. What is the best way of advertising, or I guess marketing online? You kind of have to be a little spammy with it, because a lot of these social, like, the number one problem I can guarantee you is not the quality of your product or your pricing. It's the fact that people don't know that you exist. And so it's like they might, you know, if they're like, oh, I want a wire wrapped something, or I want something chainmail, or I want something leather, they don't know that you exist. They don't know to come to you. So putting in, do a little bit of research on like meta tags, I don't know. It's all the little tags that you put underneath like hashtag blah blah blah. Sorry, technical, you know, businessy terminology here, but find your market group, find what search terms get the best results for you, take really good pictures, kind of eye-catching and stuff, and that's something I'm always trying to work on, is making sure that my pictures and the sentencing are as streamlined and straightforward and friendly and efficient as possible, because I don't want to just be, you know, commercial marketing style, kind of soulless. But that stuff's very effective. So I'm trying to find a balance between the very effective way that big box stores do it and the very, you know, there are a lot of people who watch my videos who are like, Vaughn, I just think you're cool. And I'm like, there's no accounting for taste. But it's, you know, who watch some of my videos and who have ordered from me because they're like, well, I like you. I want to get this from you. And I'm like, well, thank you. Because I like money and I like you too. But, and so if you just, as good a pictures as you can, as, you know, make sure to label it if it's jewelry. Put jewelry in as one of the tags, like, because people might not have searched chainmail as a term, but they might have searched pendant or gemstone. So it's going to take a little bit of feeling around and finding your own market and what works best for you, but staying adaptable and, like, rolling with the punches and stuff works pretty well too. And then spam it across all social media outlets that you can. I found that personally for me, I can't really juggle more than 3. So I have I have 4, but it behaves like 3. I have YouTube, which is my first and foremost, because I talk way better than I type. I have Instagram, which works hand in hand with Facebook, because if I update it to Instagram, it also updates to Facebook and Tumblr. So that lets me kind of hit a couple of those at the same time. And then I have DeviantArt, and that's because I've been doing that since middle school. And I really like the community on there. And it gives a really great gallery format. So if it's a one-of-a-kind piece and somebody doesn't want to, like, sift through all of my Facebook photos, I can direct them to my DeviantArt, and they have a gallery there that works out pretty well. So I think I rambled a lot, but I hope that that was helpful to you and maybe answered your question a little bit. And spamming it across the sites, Wanda, you just asked how do I spam it, and it's like every day I'm posting something or trying to, and that's because like sometimes Facebook is like, well, if not enough people like your stuff, then I'm just not going to show people your stuff. And I'm like, stop that, Facebook, you're killing me. And so by kind of regularly, you know, once a day being like, hey guys, I exist, then it gets Facebook to be like, oh, well, people liked this, so I'll show it to them again. Or once a Facebook post gets like so many likes, it starts showing it to like the friends of your friends instead of just your friends. So like it keeps hitting this like a bigger circle of humanoids on the internet, who can, you know, be like, oh, that's cool, and like clicky boop and stuff, and kind of go from there.
Hi Yvonne and Randy. Yvonne, when doing the full Persian, what size do you use? I find it's either too loose or too tight. Yikes.
The question is, whenever I'm doing a full Persian chainmail weave, what ring size do I use? And I actually have them on hand right here. It's an 18 gauge 1/4 inch ring. I don't know if there's like AWG and then some other one. These are from the Ring Lord, and then I coil and cut my own at that same dimension, and both of those work really well for me. It's not particularly, like, it's not as dense as it could be, but it's a really easy weaving size, and it makes like a really nice, like, flowy, drapey bracelet or necklace. And I also use those for making the full Persian crosses as well. Next question. Well, hey Melody, thanks for joining us.
Next question is, what gemstone suits me best? My birthday is in March and I have green eyes. Thanks, XX.
Oh, I don't know. The question is, what gemstone suits me best? I'm born in March and have, what they say, green eyes?
Yeah.
I don't know. What do you like? Like, what colors do you wear a lot? Like, I personally have never subscribed to birthstones very much because it's like, mine is in August, so it's peridot, which is like, I don't know, they always pair it with yellow gold, which does not look good on my complexion, like, at all. And I can never find very big pieces of peridot, so I always personally preferred tiger's eye or tiger iron, which is like a hematite red jasper tiger's eye like blend. It's really pretty. As well as like labradorite. I don't know, just pick whatever you like. I'm sure that's not helpful. But also, if you do really want to stick to what birthstones, you know, like birthstones specifically, just give it a good Google and pick whichever one you like the best.
Do you make or sell your fairy known houses, or are they just for giveaways?
The question is, do I make and sell my fairy houses, or are they exclusive to giveaways? I do them on a custom basis, but for the most part, I just do them for the giveaways because they're pretty expensive. Like, the value of the ones that I usually give away range anywhere from $50 to $150. You know, because we have so many people participating, and it's like, I really want to give you guys something cool, you know, for all of your support. So, and then I get maybe one custom fairy house a month, and that's pretty reasonable with what I can keep up with. But I want to show you guys my absolute most favorite sculpture, fairy house. So I'll be right back.
What are you doing?
I'm getting my sculpture that I did.
I'm gonna get a drink.
Okay. So this is a sculpture that I did, not this winter, but last winter. And so you can kind of see there's a lot of amethyst, a lot of rainbow fluorite. And then the whole tree up top. But I was so pleased to get to make this one. And this one I made for myself. It's kind of dusty. But what I like most about it is the tree actually lifts off. And I put little LED lights down in there. And it glows through all the gemstones. And there's a lot of translucent clay in this blue clay here. And that way, I don't know, just everything glows and her eyes like glow purple. So yeah, that's my favorite. But this one, if I were to put it up for sale, because Randy was like, you know somebody's going to want to buy it. How much would something like that go for? And this one I would have sold for $700. So, but that's because, I mean, it's $360. So much gemstone. Like, those crystal clusters, everything. Okay, next question.
Next question. Ooh, crowns and horns. Sounds good. How about masquerade mask?
I could totally get into that. The question is, would I be willing to do a masquerade mask? And I think that'd be really fun. I'd love to do one that's like a leather wire kind of mashup a little bit. Next question.
Next question. Is Etsy a good site to sell on?
The question is Etsy a good site to sell on? I personally did not have a lot of success on Etsy, but this was like 6 or 7 years ago. Etsy was still relatively new. The way that they had it set up at the time, as I understand it, it's not like that now. But at the time, if you weren't posting, like they were posted, if somebody searched chainmail bracelet, they would get the most recent posts as opposed to the most relevant posts. And so unless you were posting like daily or multiple times a day, you wouldn't be making as many sales. And then also with our business format, we were, at the time, we were doing like 2 or 3, sometimes 4 conventions a month. So I'd make a bunch of stuff, post it on Etsy, go do a convention, sell almost all of it, you know, that we had, because the one-of-a-kind pieces really sell pretty well. And then I'd have to come down and take the listing down, but it still charges you that 20-cent listing price, and that adds up. So what we ended up doing was we just went to Yahoo and purchased a domain, backtoearthcreations.com, and then went to Weebly, which, I mean, you could go to like GoDaddy or any kind of these, like Square does websites now, any of these sites, and yeah, you could go to any of these sites and just set up a website through them. I really liked the way that Weebly had the different gallery options and things like that. It's kind of warm. Did y'all see my sunburn? Sorry, I'm pathetic. I'm like, look at my boo-boo.
Okay, next question.
Mm-hmm.
I'm making a headdress for a cosplay of Leela from Pixar Lava. It would have a lot of element stuff, or electronic stuff. It needs to be secured. Any advice?
For making, the question is about they're making a really cool headdress. And there's a lot of, you said electronics on it. And so they want it to be like stable. I would make, if you think of like, the way that like a wig cap attaches to your head, I would do something that comes like around here, as well as 2 points holding onto the cranium, kind of like that. And because you want the front to be as counterbalanced by the back, but just having it to where, I don't know, to where it's gripping onto everything, because I've had some experience with the very heavy like horn headbands that if you tip your head back, the whole thing slides back. If you tip your head forward, the whole thing slides forward. So if you give it multiple grab points, and then you can actually pull your hair through in different parts to hide all those different connection areas, it can make it look like it just grew out of your head, but your hair and everything's still holding it all into place. So if that makes sense. Okay, next question.
How do you set the gel polish on the gorgeous dragon test? Do you use ultraviolet light fingernail?
The question is, how do I set the gel polish on my dragon eyes? The gel polish that I use is Miracle Gel. I actually have a bottle of it right here. Miracle Gel by Sally Hansen? I don't know. But you can see it says no light, sans light. sans lampe. And so it has a nice gel texture, but it doesn't require any additional light. But whenever I do paint eyes, it does get them to set faster and harder if I just leave them out in direct sunlight while they cure. And so that's how I do it. Because I don't want to spend money on like fancy lamps or anything like that. Next question.
Do you create any bird sculptures, crow or raven?
Ooh, the question is, do I create any bird sculptures, crow or raven? I have not, but I would love the opportunity to, because I think birds are fascinating. Like, especially since I started keeping chickens, like, birds have just, like, opened up this whole new avenue of, like, oh my god, you're such a cool critter. And then we went camping maybe 2 years ago with my best friend, and during that weekend, because we were out for, like, a week, but it was, like, a little before the weekend, a little after the weekend. And during that weekend, there was a World Bird Sanctuary from in the St. Louis area that came and did a demonstration. And we got to see, like, all of these cool birds of prey and owls. And, I mean, just, like, everything. It was so good. And, honestly, my most favorite was probably a vulture. Because they're so smart, but, like, they pee on themselves and projectile puke at you if you're, like, a coyote or something. Like, they're so wicked, just weird, and crazy looking. But I don't know, I really liked them. And so that really piqued my interest a little bit into birds, because I want to do a colored pencil piece of a reaper who is a vulture faced, like kind of that same, his cloak is the feathers, but that same beautiful color scheme with the blacks to grays, and that has that face but has like a shaman staff. And I'm sure it's already been done like a million times, but I don't care. I want to do one like from my vision, because it's we've had lots and lots of brushes with death through our life. Randy and I both had, both with like family members passing away while we were young, and just like once a month almost dying in a car wreck, like just like, I mean, skimming by the skin of our teeth. So it's we feel like we have a pretty aware of the Reaper kind of lifestyle. Next question.
Do you have a tutorial on making horns?
The question is, do I have a tutorial on making horns? And I don't yet, but I have a whole box of clay down here that I'm going to be making a tutorial, because I want to show you guys how to make like very simplistic ones as well as like kind of like spirally. And I'm going to do one tutorial on the polymer clay glue-on horns, and then I'm going to be doing an entirely separate tutorial on very large kind of ram's horn style, like on a headdress kind of horns. So the question is, does Randy make any crafts? And if so, what does he make? Randy does a lot of our chainmail. He does a lot of the prep work for chainmail as well. Like, he'll go through and open and close all the rings that I need and have them set up in their units. That way I can go through and weave it. He has a very solid grasp of European 4-in-1, European 6-in-1, half Persian 3-in-1, Byzantine, box chain, and full Persian if I start it for him. And he can also make Celtic stars like a boss, like all day. And that's just some of them, like off the top of my head.
Next question.
Mm-hmm.
Besides Parawire, is there another side of equal quality you would recommend for more varied range of wire polish?
The question is, other than Parawires, then another site that I would recommend for, did they say a more varied color spectrum? I don't know. I used to get a lot of my wire from Fire Mountain Gems. I used to get the zebra wire from them. And that was pretty good. But then out of nowhere, it seemed like, again, this was like 7 or 8 years ago, their zebra wire, like a couple of batches of them were like almost full hard. Like it was not as dead soft as it had been. So I just stopped purchasing. There are some, I like some of the blues and teals of the artistic wire, and I like them okay if I know it's not going to be getting a whole lot of wear and tear. I just stay away from their silvers. But I don't know. If y'all have any other wire sites that you would recommend, I'd love to hear about them. Next question.
Hi, Yvonne. Do you send your craft courses from the shop to other countries too. I'm from Germany.
I do international shipping. Like, the question is, do I ship internationally? And yes, but it can cost sometimes up to $25 to ship, especially if it's a bigger piece, like one of our costumes or something. But I mean, just the other day I mailed something to France for like 20 cents cheaper than what it is to mail something in my town. So I was like, I don't even know how this works anymore. Like, at all. Okay.
I want to make big lady scale. I'm so excited for you to do a tutorial.
Okay. Right on. It was a little bit more of a statement, but it's that they want to make big lady, is that the term they used?
Something like that.
Right on. Goddess-sized scale mail, which that's kind of an unfair thing, because like goddesses come in all sizes, but it does take a lot more material when there's a lot more goddess. And I am going to be doing some tutorials, and I'm actually going to talk to you guys a little bit in that tutorial about how to accommodate for the fact that you're going to need a little bit more coverage, that typically anything over a B cup benefits greatly from some support kind of incorporated into it, and so we'll kind of cover those points in that tutorial.
What form of mail did you send it to France?
Flat rate international. Like, not flat rate, first class. Sorry, words.
I want to get into leatherworking. Where do you suggest to start?
Okay. The question is, I want to get into leatherworking. Where do you suggest I start? And honestly, I'm going to tell you guys how I got into it. And then you can kind of gauge for yourself from there. My family actually pitched in and purchased Randy and I the Tandy Leather Deluxe Kit, which is like a $500 kit of like tools, and books and all sorts of stuff, but it doesn't come with any dye or any leather. So I didn't have anything to test out these techniques or these tools on at all. I was lost. So for years I just used those tools on polymer clay because it's like stuff like these ones, like just a cute little, it's just a little stamp, but it works perfectly on polymer clay, and lots of different things like that. And then I was like, I've got to start getting into leather. Like, I need to get into leather. Because I had reached a peak of what I could accomplish with chainmail, and what I could accomplish with wire, and what I could accomplish with textiles for our costuming. And I was like, I need something with a lot of structure. And I considered thermoplastics, because they were just starting to emerge into the market at the time. But I needed something that for our inventory, we just leave it in bins out in the van whenever we're traveling, and that anything thermoplastic would just melt. And so that's way too much work and energy and time to put into something that's just going to melt either in my car or in your car. So I was like, I have to get into leatherworking. So I paid $10 for the Tandy Leathercraft Library. It's like Netflix for specifically just leatherworking videos. And the teachers that they have in those videos show you such a wide variety of foundation techniques and styles and ways of doing things and it teaches you how to learn the tools, how to use the tools that they offer on their website and in their stores. And while they don't have as many like complete projects, they do have quite a few beginner level projects. And if you pay that $10 a month, you get to download all of their templates, like every single template that they have available at the time that normally you'd have to go through and buy individually. So, and even if you get a template from them, it gives you, like, their pauldron template I found was like very dinky, like very small, like maybe for a petite lady or like a young boy, like kind of it would look like, oh yeah, that's convincing armor. But on like someone who's very barrel chested and for manly and stuff like Randy, it's like maybe for his forearm, but I digress. It gave me a starting point to be like, okay, well this template's way too small, so let's make it bigger. And for $10 a month, I chained that. I think, didn't you have food poisoning for like 4 days? That time, whenever I got the Tandy leather, remember? Because you were like dead. That one time. It was when we had the craft room upstairs, and you were dying in the little room. and you ate nothing but like crackers.
I was dead for 3 days.
Well, he was dead. He doesn't remember. But like, and I was so lonely. I was like, somebody hang out with me. And so I got on the Tandy Leathercraft library and just like hung out with the dude Stolman. I can't remember his name. I'm such a terrible friend. But and hung out and just watched like videos nonstop for 4 days, and I got like, I just paid for 1 month because I'm like, I'm not gonna need this again. And then every so often I'll go back and repurchase the Leathercraft library just to watch, because they come out with new tools and stuff all the time. But I would recommend that before you buy any tools, any materials, spend $10 and some time going through the Leathercraft library, and then go from there to YouTube, because like, I try to do a really good job in my leatherworking tutorials of showing and explaining every single tool that I'm using and why I'm using it and what it accomplishes and different ways that you can interact with it. But this is just my perspective. I recommend to y'all getting as many different perspectives as you can and trying everything until you find what's your favorite and what works for you. So sorry, I started rambling a lot there, but it was like, I started going down memory lane and got lost. Next question.
Okay. You guys ever played Dungeons and Dragons or role-playing games? Off topic, but I'm curious.
The question is, have Randy and I ever played Dungeons and Dragons or any other role-playing game? And the answer is yes. We're professional nerds. Of course we have. But we have not played as much as we'd liked, because it's, again, we travel so much. So whenever we do run into people that we want to game with, we only get to see them for that like 1 weekend a year. And then we aren't home enough, or haven't been in the past, to like have like a home setting gaming group. You know, like some people that we can go and game with every week. We played Pathfinder. We've played like regular. We tried Pathfinder. I liked it, but again, like if it's Randy, our old roommate, and I just like sitting around, like, I guess this is how it works, but it was fun, and I guess that's what matters. And then we played, for a while, we were playing a really fun game of Star Wars, The Old Republic, the tabletop game, which was really cool. Whenever the PC game came out, did you just make a noise, or? Okay. Well, it sounded like a very... Okay. We've played lots of them. The Fate system's probably our favorite, and we're always open to trying new tabletop games. Next question.
Have you ever done any sort of live reenactment? Do you think you could use some of your costumes or chainmail for reenactors? I love your tutorials or social inspiration.
Well, thank you. The question is, have we ever done any live reenactment, and would our costumes be good for that? I don't recommend any of our stuff for live steel, even our leather, because even though I use a very thick armor grade leather sometimes, it has not been wax hardened. It does not have a lot of different things like that, like, I mean, the SCAers are like a whole nother level of, like, intense. So if you want a live steel combat, I'd recommend do a bit more research. We use a lot of the same weaves, but it's a completely different end result. Now for LARPing, where we're all bopping each other with fanoodles, that's a lot of fun, and our costumes are perfect for that. I mean, because like, you might have some like rings pop and stuff, but you're literally getting bonked with a fanoodle. Like, you'll be fine. And that's why we do free repairs on all of our work too, is because I do understand that we're doing butted chainmail, not welded, not riveted. You're gonna have some rings pop over the years. That's perfectly normal, and that's why you send it to me and I fix it and send it back to you free of charge. Because again, like some of our chainmail shirts start at like $300, and that's not welded or anything. And a lot of the LARPers, you know, start out, they're college kids, they don't have a whole lot of money, and so we kind of, you know, try to work within that budget that they set. But I love LARPing. Like, it's so much fun. Because I was in fencing in high school and wrestling in elementary and middle school. So it's like, just, yeah, like a total barbarian. I'm like, I'm going to tackle you. And then I'm like, oh no, are you okay? Like, sorry. It's not a good way to keep friends. Next question.
I need help with my chainmail bra. I'm a 28F.
Okay.
I find it's hard to get the right size.
Those are tickle bitties. Okay, the question is, I'm a 28F. I need help with my chainmail bra. I would recommend doing a very wide shoulder strap because that's going to distribute the weight of holding everything up of your vast tracts of land. Whenever you're making the... I have a mannequin right here, so I don't have to play with my own boobs. I can show you on her boobs. Let me get the fur wraps off of them. And this is why I can't find anything ever. Okay, so these are boobs, and you've got your torso measurement, and then you've got these straps that are coming up over here. Whenever you're making the triangles, you're going to have 2 triangles that come up. You'll want to make the triangle come from right, like, around in here, because sometimes, especially on the fuller bosoms, the fuller the bosom, the farther back you're going to want this side support, because that way it's going to lift everything kind of up and in. You don't want that initial triangle edge before you start doing the expansion rows to come past where your kind of armpit joint is going to be, where that muscle is, where, like, if you were drawing it, there'd be a curve right here. You don't want it to exceed past there, because otherwise it's going to bunch up and irritate in your armpit. So you'll bring out those 2 equilateral triangles to about that point, and then you'll expand it however much you need to.
Go ahead and block all those. What do you think?
I can't see them.
I'll have a look.
Oh. Yeah. Go for it. Go ahead and expand as much as you can, or as much as you'd like to encapsulate the boobs. And then from there, I would also recommend doing a much wider join in the center where the 2 cups come together, because again, you're dealing with a lot of mass, quite a bit of weight. I mean, that's pretty big boobs. And so you don't want there to be a ton of pressure on just singular center rings. And then from there, you do the gather, and I would do a 3 or 4 row wide yoke is what Randy and I usually call them, that would come down and do the gathering on the cups and support over your shoulders. So yeah, that's the best advice. If I were doing a chainmail bra for cups that size, that's what I would do. So I hope that was helpful to you. I don't even know. Okay, Hashtag nice boobies.
Next question, Vaughn. How much would it be for a chainmail swimsuit?
The question is, how much would it be for a chainmail swimsuit? A lot of that has to do with your sizing, what style of suit you would like, and then also whether you want to be wearing it over another swimsuit or if you want it to be street legal worn by itself. And what that means is, like, we have some meshes, like the chainmail weaves with like our 16 gauge 5/16. You kind of need to wear something else underneath it, because people are going to be like, I see where your nipples are. Whereas with our 16 gauge 1/4 inch, it's perfectly street legal. I mean, unless somebody's like way up on you, like looking in between, they're not going to be, you know, so those ones you don't have to wear with a lining unless you have like piercings or something. Also, a lot of people are like, chainmail underwear is not as good of an idea as you would think it is, because there's there's a lot of stuff happening in that region, especially when you're walking or jogging on the beach or just and chainmail is basically metal, like rings, like that can pinch and grab, and it's like, I don't recommend. Chainmail underwear is beautiful for photo shoots and on mannequins, but if you actually walk in it, like, you'll get like 3 steps and be like, oh, ah. So I don't recommend chainmail underwear, but we do take like swimsuit bottoms in whatever style that you like, and then I weave the chainmail and then stitch it on over that and kind of like have it hang down. But I just don't recommend a join in the groin area, because that is going to pinch and make your life miserable. You'll look great, but you'll be miserable. And
why did you choose YouTube?
The question is, why did I choose YouTube? And a pretty straightforward answer for that is I work in a pretty visual medium. that, like, I always found that there was something lacking in picture tutorials for me. That it's like, but how did you transition from that into that? And then also, I don't know if y'all noticed, but I can talk, like, for days. But I get so frustrated with typing because it's like, I can type pretty quickly, but it just doesn't keep up. And so YouTube just seemed like a perfect medium for being able to mash everything in together. And then use other social media sites for redirecting folks coming back to what I'm trying to teach. Because that's so much of this is like, I want to teach something. And also, I found that, like, languages are really difficult for me. Like, even just English. Like, sometimes I stutter, sometimes it's like, it's just does not compute. Like, I'm very, very visual. And so if, I try to consider it from the perspective of someone who does not speak the same language as me, that maybe if I can just demonstrate it in excruciating detail, I wanted to demonstrate it so well that even if you just hit mute, you could still follow what was going on. And, that way, like, that was the goal. And YouTube was perfect for that. Okay.
How do you care for chainmail? Like, how do you clean it properly?
The question is how to take care of your chainmail. Most of my experience with maintenance on chainmail is for aluminum, and you would treat aluminum very differently than what you would treat, like, if you have, like, something that's a set made out of copper, because they oxidize differently under different situations. With the aluminum, it kind of sweats this, like, gray residue. And so I just take dish soap and a scrub brush and scrub it. If it's a bigger piece. Otherwise, I just toss it in the tumbler with some burnishing compound, and that shines it right up. But any metal that's an alloy, as far as I understand it, like, I am not a metallurgy expert. This is just in my experience. Any metal that's an alloy is going to react and it's going to oxidize. And that causes, the depositing on your skin and stuff, and it's that reaction that a lot of people with metal allergies have an adverse reaction to. And that's why, for, like, pacemakers and a lot of, like, piercings and stuff, they'll use niobium because it's an elemental metal and very non-reactive. Okay, next question. Ooh.
Question is, how would you hand make a bra for someone with a small band size but large cups?
Okay. The question is, how would you make a bra for someone with a small torso but large cups? And that's, I would just, with chainmail, you're basically making the fabric. So, again, I'm going to use my mannequin because she's right here. You would get the measurement of around the underbust where the strap would be sitting, and the most important measurement is from where you want the coverage to start across the fullest point of the bust to where you want it to stop, and also along the narrowest point, so like the underneath and then the fullest part. And then just kind of make enough fabric to kind of go from there. If you guys go back and watch a little earlier in the live stream, I talk in greater detail about how to do the coverage and everything with the chainmail and how I would personally do the expansions and stuff. Also, it can always be very helpful if you buy, I think Ethan is the brand, some bra patterns, and just seeing how they're different for, a 32F as opposed to a 32B, just how that differs. Okay.
Have you done any chainmail animals like dragons, snakes, hedgehogs? If so, would you be able to make a tutorial?
Okay.
Dresden files or something.
The question is, have I ever made any chainmail animals? And the answer is, I haven't yet. We haven't really had a very good way of displaying them in the booth. So, and that really hinders a lot, in the past at least, a lot of what we created. Because I was like, well, I can't take the time to make it if I don't have a way to display it and sell it. Now that we're focusing a lot more on YouTube and only doing like 1 or 2 conventions a month, it's definitely opened up a lot of doors, and I would love to make, like, I want to make a chainmail octopus. There's a spider building a web over in the corner, and I just noticed it, and it freaked me out. Sorry. But yeah, I want to make a chainmail octopus, like, with tentacles and stuff, or like Cthulhu or something. Next question.
What gauge wire would you recommend for Viking knit weave?
For the Viking, the question is, what gauge wire would I recommend for Viking weave? Which is that, like, we have a tutorial up, but I personally really like the 26 gauge. It's sturdy enough that it makes a nice, like, substantial... I had some over here. I lost it. Yeah, I tried spring cleaning. The house is just messier than what it was, but now I can't find anything. So, yay! 26 gauge gives you a really nice, sturdy weave, but it's not quite so hard on your hands. Okay. Next question.
Do you ever go to any festival or conventions in the St. Louis area?
We do go to quite a few conventions and stuff in the St. Louis area. I saw that somebody had mentioned Pagan Picnic. We've been there in the past, but it's quite a bit ways to drive for a one-day event. And then we do Anime St. Louis, we do Archon, we used to do NatsuCon. I'd love to get to go to more of them in that area, because especially in, like, Collinsville, they have so many events in that Collinsville Convention Center, like a Gateway Convention Center, I think is what it's called. But it's just now that since we've been cutting back, we have to be much more discriminating about what shows we go to and which ones we don't. And we actually, this is kind of big news, it hasn't been announced on their website yet, but I just recently submitted my information. Like, I'd been accepted, so I sent in, like, the biopic and stuff for being a guest at SawesomeCon in Kansas City in June? Maybe? So, yeah, I really need to get on, like, an actual hard copy structure of what conventions we'll be at this year. So, next question.
Can you give me advice on how to seize online opportunities? Can you give me advice on how to seize not online opportunities?
Okay.
Have a booth at a fair?
Right on. So, to get into like craft shows, fairs, festivals, different things like that, go to their websites. Like, first and foremost, like, Fairy World is a really cool fairy festival and vending event and stuff. And so if I were to go to their website, they often, over in the side or across the bottom, have listed affiliate events, or, like, you know, they'll sell advertising space to other like festivals, or similar festivals rather. And so that way you can kind of, like, find different ones, and the more you delve down that rabbit hole, the more you're going to be able to find about the things that you're interested in. We found out about so many conventions our first year of doing conventions by going to Chattacon, and they had, like, a freebie table where all of the other convention promoters, like, would put out their flyers for their conventions, and then if you go to the event website, they'll have, like, vending information and stuff. So I feel really fortunate that we're vendors in an age of the internet where, like, it's just some Googling at 2 a.m. can get you so far. Whereas, like, if it were all, like, word of mouth, or, like, having to get, like, hard copy periodicals or something, like, I imagine it was much more difficult to find vending opportunities in, like, the 70s and 80s. But yeah, just check out their websites and stuff. If you're looking locally, go to your Chamber of Commerce or City Council. A lot of times they'll have public events listed there. Next question.
I believe she lives in Missouri. I wonder if she's ever attended the Pagan Picnic in St. Louis.
I've addressed that one.
Okay. Any idea how I can demagnetize my bent nose pliers? I'm not sure how they became magnetized.
I don't know.
But it's irritating.
The question is, how can I demagnetize my bent nose pliers? Mine actually have a very similar problem, which most of the time doesn't bother me, except for whenever I'm doing micro mail with stainless steel that's, like, magnetic. And I'm like, it's stuck. You might want to Google it, because if you find out, I'd love to know. Okay, next question.
What typically is your best-selling items at conventions?
The question is, what is typically the best-selling item at conventions? And that's a good question that is impossible to answer, because I wish I knew. Every single show over the past 9 years, something has done really well, and then didn't the next show. So the recipe for success that we have found is to have a varied price point. So for our jewelry, we carry as little as $5 up to $80. And those are for like our necklaces and stuff. Now sometimes we'll go over that, especially with our costumes and stuff. Those usually start at like $100 for everything on the mannequin. But it's like by keeping such a wide price point, because sometimes we'll be at a convention where like the $5 to $20 range is selling the best, and then sometimes we'll have at a convention where we're really strong in the $20 to $50. But by having those different options, it gives folks of all different sorts of budgets an opportunity to come and support our business. Do you think that was a good answer?
I'm not.
Okay. Well, next question.
What typically is your biggest... Oh, wait, sorry. Why magnets attract to each other?
Demons. Sorry, the question is why do magnets attract each other? And it's because there's demons in there. Science. No, go Google it. Like, next question.
Not sure if it has been asked. I just joined, but how do you find the time for so many different crafts in so many different mediums?
The question is, how do I find the time for so many different crafts in so many different mediums? And the answer is, I have a babysitter who makes sure that I stay fed, and like he helps me with absolutely everything. 'Cause I am nothing if not good at overextending myself and biting off way more than what I can chew. And I'm really blessed to have a lot of people in my life who are like on standby, it seems, for being like, Vaughn's in a pickle again, let's help her out. And so it's like, I have a good friend who, I'm like begging, I'm like, please come help me clean my house. Like, I don't want it, it needs it. But it's Randy and I tackle this as a team venture. And I get so much more done whenever he's there to help keep me on track and to help keep me productive and to help me whenever I get overwhelmed. And I'm like, Randy, I'm drowning in beads, save me. And he's like, okay. But yeah, that's, I don't know if y'all have noticed for all the newbies, this is my glorious sunburn that one day when I have skin cancer, I'm going to be like, and this little tumor, this is from when we made the bunny hutches. And this one's from the time I fell asleep in the hammock. But Randy just helped me make 2 brand new bunny hutches. Well, one of them was given to us from a friend, and we just needed to put a new legs and like latches and everything on it. So we got that one done yesterday, and then just this morning we finished up another one that we'll be having a video about tomorrow, maybe. But it was made entirely with free wood from Lowe's, and we'll talk to you more about that in tomorrow's video.
Someone says, notice me, Senpai, or I'll use my secret weapon.
Oh no. No, by the very nature is, as a senpai, I cannot notice you. Otherwise, I won't be your senpai.
I have a question. Do you guys seen paper crafts like books?
The question is, have we seen or have we made or?
Have you seen?
The question is, have we seen paper crafts, like making books and like bookbinding and stuff? I imagine I have seen them, and they're very intriguing. But I haven't made a whole lot of them because, again, it's a thing about durability in the booth as well as marketability. And there's a lot of it that, like, in an online venue, whenever you can hit a much broader audience, having, like, the custom-bound books and things would be more plausible. But out of the booth, it's like we'd have to charge so much for it, and I'd be devastated if one got stolen, that we don't do a whole lot of items like that. But I do create some leather book bindings that you can take just a regular sketchbook and put like the leather cover on it and make it look all like legit and stuff. Okay. Next question.
Does colored chainmail rust easier?
The question is, does colored chainmail rust easier? If it's copper or bronze, it will oxidize a whole lot. But for the anodized aluminum, like how we have, like I actually have the trays here because we went through and placed an order with the ring lord to get more anodized stuff. These are some of the different colors of anodized aluminum, and this is just one of the trays. But I have found that while unanodized aluminum will leave that gray residue on your skin, the anodized is like perfect. Like, it doesn't leave any kind of residue. The pieces that we've seen from like 5 or 6 years ago that people have been wearing daily, the anodizing does rub off.
It takes time.
But it takes a lot of time and a lot of wear and tear, and those are usually in bracelets that people are wearing every day. Next question.
If I was to get a chainmail suit, what color, or with colored chainmail, would it cost me?
The question is, do pieces made with anodized aluminum cost more? And the answer is yes. They cost like almost twice as much sometimes, depending on the ring size and on the color that you're looking for. But it's pretty. Next question.
How is your hawk proofing holding up the top of your chickens?
My what? Oh, the hawk proofing? The question's about the hawk proofing panels that we put on top of the chicken coop, and we haven't had any more problems, so I'm really pleased.
Do you also go to conventions abroad?
The question is, do we go to conventions abroad? And we haven't had the opportunity to, but I would love to. Like, vending isn't as much of an option because we have a huge booth a lot of the times. But I would totally come and guest at one and teach panels and workshops and do like hands-on and everything like that. Like, I think that would be very viable and very fun and such an adventure.
Is my computer screen broken or is your hair green?
The question is their computer screen broken or is my hair green? And my hair's green. Like, I don't know. I tried dyeing it and I didn't bleach it first like Randy said I should.
Or like the directions.
Oh, shut up. It said... Shut up. I don't want to hear it. Don't confuse me with the facts, Randy. But yeah, I don't know. I kind of like it. Like, I take it down, but it's like a greasy mess. Like, because I'm covered in this like body oil for my sunburn. Have you seen that? Oh my god. That's the color I usually am. I don't know. I could dig it. I could get used to that glowing red. I need to just lay outside and get like full red, and then I could do like a Sith cosplay without having to worry about body paint.
What's the favorite part of being a YouTuber?
The question is, what is my favorite part about being a YouTuber? Honestly, I don't get lonely anymore. Because every time I'm lonely, I'm like, well, I'll just go answer my messages. And like 3 hours later, I'm like, I need some me time. Because it can get kind of exhausting. But no, I really like the challenge that y'all present with having, and with posting daily especially. I'm having to constantly come up with new things to make videos about. And it's challenging me as a teacher to try to teach what I do in as many different comprehensible ways as possible. Because the way that I learn is different from the way Randy learns, is different from the way that you learn. And I want to be as accommodating of that as possible. And it's forcing me to look with different perspectives, which is helping me to look with a fresh eye, which is re-inspiring my creativity. And I love that because this is our 9th year of doing what we do professionally, and so it's like we were kind of getting into our ruts a little bit and being like, well, this is the way that we do things, and not that we were opposed to doing things differently, but it's like we had found what for us was most time efficient, but I don't know, it wasn't really pushing us past our comfort zone boundaries, and y'all certainly push me past my comfort zone boundaries sometimes.
What's your chickens' names?
The question is, what are my chickens' names? And I can do this in more detail tomorrow where I can actually point them out to you guys. But I have 4 that are the Spice Girls. They're Poppy, Cinnamon, Nutmeg, and Ginger. And then I have the 3 chicks who, they aren't fully grown yet, so I can't really tell them apart because they're all 3 the same breed. And it's a very specific breed, like it's a Cinnamon Queen. So they're very standard, like they're show quality birds. So it's like, they all look the same. I'm like, how do I tell you guys apart? So I'm hoping as the chickens get older, they'll get more defining features. Like maybe this one will have more of a light spot on its face, or this one will have like dark feathers on somewhere that the other 2 don't. But those ones' names, we were kind of joking, but we're going to be Mealworms, Hopper, in J-clips, because that's what I went to the store to get, and I came back with chickens. Next question.
Where do you get most of your storage containers, craft drawers, etc.?
Okay, the question is, where do I get most of my storage drawers and craft containers and different things? Ones like this, we get at like Michael's, Hobby Lobby, or Joann's with a 40% off coupon. And the only thing I've run into is over time, the little latches will break off, and that happens. Then ones like these ones over here, if you can see, I got these at Walmart, of all places, and they're really great. They're like in the hardware section at Walmart, because a lot of these, this is a fishing tackle box that I got at probably Walmart. It's like the only store in our town. Whereas the shallower ones, these we get from Michael's. But what's really nice about these is these dividing pieces don't come out, whereas on the fishing they do, which makes it so annoying whenever you're trying to get the last couple of rings out and it accidentally pulls out the divider and now your rings are mixed together. So there's pros and cons with both of them. The fishing tackle boxes, trays hold a lot more. So next question.
Have you ever made a costume for your dogs? I have a Clydesdale and I really want to make a chainmail piece for
Right on.
the kids' wears.
The question is, have I ever made costumes for our dogs? And kind of. I put them in people clothes a lot, if that counts. But they want to make some chainmail for their Clydesdale. And what I would recommend is take, like, if they have like a horse blanket or something, take that and lay it out and base your pattern off of that. Because the chainmail will sit, like, horse blankets are designed to sit very comfortably on the horses. And so if you make the chainmail to that pattern, but then like do like triangles along the edges or something, it'll give you a starting point to work from. Next question.
Can you do a video on how to work with fake fur?
Sure. The question is, can I do a video on how to work with fake fur? And I've recently just come into having a bunch of fake fur. So let me experiment with it a bit and kind of get my bearings. My good friend, Asmith with Hidden Thicket, they are like a wizard with fake fur. So I'll get them to help me a bit, and then I'll teach y'all what I've learned.
Different leathers. Does one smell than the other when they get worn? Like goat leather versus cow leather?
Okay. The question is, will different leathers smell differently, I guess, than others from whenever you're wearing them? And a lot of it goes into, there's a vegetable tanned pigskin, and then there's vegetable tanned cowhide. And both of those smell like they're vegetable tanned, because it's more, you're not going to smell the animal as much as you are the chemical in the process that they were tanned in, if that makes sense. So like chrome tanned, like the kind of suede-ish feeling leather is going to smell different from the vegetable tanned, is going to smell different from the latigo. And that's, if you have a tandy leather in your area, go sniff some stuff and kind of find out for yourself. Next question.
Do you have any idea when you can do a tutorial on Japanese chainmail?
The question is, when am I going to do a tutorial on Japanese chainmail? And hopefully I'll be able to record it on Thursday, but soon, I hope so much. Like, I've run completely out of, I don't have any more videos backlogged, so it's like I'm having to go through and edit some of the other stuff that we had gotten recorded and kind of get all of that stuff in together. Okay.
Next one is, how do you make enough inventory to sell?
The question is, how do I make enough inventory to sell? And I'm not gonna lie, it really helps having Randy on board with this, because we're able to get twice as much made as if it were just me working by myself. And that's something that a lot of folks, like, whenever he was working day jobs still and all of the inventory was on me, it was like so much more difficult. You know, granted, we weren't making as many sales because we weren't doing as many shows, but it really does help to have another person. Like, it's completely necessary, I think, to have him making as well, because I could not make enough inventory just myself, even for just one show a month, for the volume that we sell at. Which, thank goodness, we're selling that much, but at the same time, it's like we still have to really work at it. And the way that we kind of stay on track is we try to make at least currently $100 worth of inventory a day.
That's with us doing.
And that's with us only doing one show a month.
And
with both of us doing YouTube. And that's, if y'all haven't yet, be sure to go check out Randy on his channel. He's Randy Vaughn, RandyVon, here on YouTube. And he does quite a bit of gaming on there. And then we also, sometimes I like co-host and we'll just be goofy and stuff, and it's fun. A lot less, like, if this is professional, I'm a lot less professional on his channel, because I'm like, we're shooting a video, let's get drunk. So, yeah. So, but prior, when we were doing 3, sometimes 4 conventions a month, we had our goal at $300 worth of inventory a day, but we weren't also making inventory or YouTube videos. Sorry. Okay.
How do you afford to do so many cons? It's nice that your partner helps you creatively.
The question is, how do we afford to do so many conventions? And then they stated that it's great that Randy helps me out, and it is. Like, I couldn't do this without him. He has made my every dream come true. He's always been so supportive, and it's like, I just don't even know what I would do without him. Like, at all. But as far as the conventions go, let me see. We did Chattacon, and that one was like $80 for a table. Now, also, I had an unfair advantage because 9 years ago, you could get into a convention for $80 and sleep in your van. Whereas now, I mean, there's not a convention, like, there's one that we do that's that much per table, but we get like 3 tables there. Most conventions now, you're not going to get a table for less than $200. And so that...
You're not going to get a table less than $500.
And most of, well, you'll get a table for $200, a 10 by 10 for $500. Yeah. And a table is like a 6-foot table with like 2, maybe 3. If it's ultra fancy, you'll get 3 feet of space behind your table. So yeah, it's going to cost $500, and that's before a hotel or food or anything like that. Gas to get there if you're driving a ways. So we got into the market pretty early, so we were able to pay $80 for a table. And then from the money that we made at that show, like, if we make, let's say if we make $1,000 at an event, we split it right down the middle. 500 of that immediately goes back into the business and business expenses. And we usually book the show, like, if they come around and let us rebook for next year, we'll go ahead and do that at the convention. We'll set the money aside for the hotel for that convention for next year, and then the rest of it will go towards getting us home, like all of the business expenses. And then that other 500 gets split in half. 250 goes towards if we have 1,000 after paying bills. It never works out in nice round numbers like this, but yeah, never. But 250 would go into savings, and then the other 250 is what we live on. Groceries, and if I want to get some plants and different things like that. Like, that 250 would get split up between Randy and I, and that would be our paycheck. So we are certainly not getting rich off of this, but we've been able to work for ourselves through our youth. Like, we started doing this when we were 20, and I don't think it was a horrible way to have spent, our 20s. So... The question is, how did Randy and I meet? High school. We both rode the same bus. I was in marching band and did fencing and also had an after-school job. So it actually, even though we both lived in the same neighborhood for 2 years?
Year and a half.
Yeah, almost 2 years. I never really saw him because I had marching band in the morning. And then after school, I would either go to my job or I would go to fencing, which was an extracurricular, at another school that I went to with a good friend. And then it just lined up that out of nowhere, like, he and I started riding the bus at the same time, like, in the afternoons. And he was the only kid in high school who had, like, facial hair.
This is not how we met.
Well, that's how we initially met, but we weren't speaking to each other. We were just like, hey, like,
Can I sit here?
Yeah, he would grunt a lot, but he was the only guy in high school with facial hair other than the teachers, so he was very, like, intimidating and grumpy looking, like, all the time. And so, he's still grumpy looking. So, like, nobody on the bus would be sitting with him, so I would sit with him. But we wouldn't, like, really talk or anything, because I usually just slept on the way home. And then I actually started dating a guy who was in my mythology class, and Randy was friends with that guy. And this guy, like, I don't like to talk bad about people, but over Christmas break, he told me that he had gone to Germany to buy me chocolate. When it's like, it's very sweet that he got me chocolate, but it's like, dude, you don't have to lie to me. Like, what? Like, and then, like, it was, you know, Christmas break, so, like, you know, family stuff and everything. You know, I'm a teenager, not exactly in charge of the way I spend my time. And so I didn't have my cell phone on me, so I wasn't answering calls. And he called, like, 20 times, like, in, like, half an hour. And then, like, was mad at me and I was like, so I broke up with him. But it was through this gentleman that I had dated that he had introduced me to Randy. He was like, don't talk to Randy. He'll tell you all kinds of stuff about me. And I was like, what's the scoop? Like, what's going on here? And then another mutual friend, like, that's how Randy and I got talking. This is really, like, days of our lives.
You stole me.
And then one of my friends, who I don't know if she's forgiven me yet, because she had a crush on Randy. And she was like, will you talk to him and tell him that I like him? And I was like, okay. And so it's like Yahoo Messenger. I was like, hey, will you meet me at the bus stop? And then it was like 9:30 at night, and I was like, I'm gonna take the dog for a walk. And my family totally knew what was up. Like, I was living with my sister and her husband. And then so I go out and I, like, meet Randy at the corner. And then we started going on a walk and, like, just talking to each other. And then it was like 2 hours later, and like, we had just been talking and walking around the whole time. This poor dog I took for a walk had bad hips. So she was, like, looking at me like, please, I just want to go to bed. And I was like, shut up, this guy's really cute, and I'm going to talk to him. But, no, and then, like, my brother-in-law called, and he's like, where are you at? And I was like, I'm at the park. And he's like, uh-huh, who are you with? And I was like, Leia, the dog. And he was like, you know what I mean. And I was like, it's a boy. And he's like, come home, you're in so much trouble. And I was like, okay. And so that's how I met Randy. Is I broke up with his friend and stole him from my friend. But it worked out. Like, I mean, 12 years. How long have we been together? 87 years. No, since 2005. So 12 years. It's been 12 years. So it worked out okay, I think. Sorry. Long roundabout story. We met in high school.
How do you feel about the art market or craft market in general?
Okay. The question is, how do I feel about the arts and crafts market not swinging like how it did back in 10, 15 years ago?
Yeah.
Well, I don't know so much about the craft market because we only do like 1 or 2 craft shows a year, but I can definitely tell you that the convention market is completely oversaturated. There are too many conventions with too big of dealer rooms that are charging too much, both for the vendors to be there as well as the attendees to come and attend. But we got in like maybe right after the first Marvel movie came out. Well, right before. And so we have been able to ride this wave, and we feel like it's finally cresting, and we're afraid the bubble's going to be popping. Like last year, everybody, vendor-wise, at least at the conventions that we go to, were down significantly from where they were in years past. And they're like, this just happens. And a lot of people were like, oh, well, it's an election year, and that always hurts things. And we're like, dude, we were fine through the past 2 elections. Like, I don't think it's that it was an election year. I think it's that there's over 700 conventions going on in the country, just in the continental U.S., So that it's like, we did a convention back in November, and some of the con goers, like the attendees, were like, we're still tired from last convention 2 weeks ago in the same town. And it's like, used to a convention was something that you saved up all year for, or like you went to 2 conventions a year if you were very, con savvy and going to a lot of them. But it gave you time to save up for the hotel room, to get to where you miss your friends again, to really build your cosplay. And now it's like people are just kind of con fatigued a little bit. The attendees are. And then, I don't know. I don't know. I don't feel that great about it, which is why we started diversifying very strongly into YouTube. We're kind of keeping our heads down and only doing 1 show a month. Trying really hard to pay off our debt and keep our expenses as low as possible, for just in case. It's like, I mean, and then also, we don't have kids, we don't have medical bills, knock on wood, we don't really have habits, like we don't really drink or smoke or anything, so we don't have stuff that it's like, okay, we have to, spend this, so our backup plan is to go get day jobs. So not a whole lot of people have that option of being able to just be like, oh, well, we'll just be broke. It's like they have obligations, and we have designed our lifestyle to where we do not have obligations to a lot of people. I mean, other than like, our basic bills. Okay. Next question?
Can you whistle for us? I guess they watched my...
Oh, no, I can't. Okay.
Why do you gotta look away from the camera?
Because it's embarrassing. Yeah, I still can't do it. I did it that once, and then was like, that's it. That's all I got.
I heard you say you raise rabbits for meat, but you're so sweet. How do you prep them for food? Like, you know what I mean? Does it make you cry?
The question is,
Wait, how many animals do you have in all?
Okay. Currently, we have 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19 rabbits, currently, is how many rabbits we have. We have 3 dogs, one of whom is not ours, Harley the Great Dane. She is our old roommate's, and we're just keeping her here until he finds her a new home, because he was not able to take her with him when he moved out. And it's like, Great Danes we were not prepared for the kind of expense that she is going to be as she ages. So we were like, dude, we can't just take your dog. So we have 3 dogs and 1 cat. And then 2 humans. And the question was, we raise our rabbits for meat. How do I deal with that? Because I guess I'm a sweet person. Like what they said, you're very nice. How do you harvest your rabbits? I fortify, and I just do it, and I do cry a lot. But you have to be very sure-handed, because otherwise, it's the whole reason I started raising our own meat is out of sympathy for the animals that are raised in far less than ideal conditions. Like, even if you take ideal industrial agriculture, it is still less than ideal conditions. I wouldn't want to live like that, and so I tried to go the vegetarian and vegan route, and that was very expensive, and I turned out to be very, very, very allergic to textured vegetable protein, which is what most meat alternatives are made out of. Like full on, like I've got a video on here because I was like, guys, I'm dying, but like my mouth was all like my whole face, and Randy was like, before we start breeding them for harvesting, let's harvest 1 and make sure that you can actually do it. And I did. It was a chicken, and it's like Henrietta turned out to be a Henry, and he was crowing, and so I harvested him, and I cried, oh my god, so much, because I love that bird. Like, he was a really good chicken. But it was just, and a lot of people argue that they're like, oh, well, how can you do that? They're so cute. And it's like, baby cows are adorable. Grown-up cows, if they're well socialized, are like, I like them better than horses. Like, because they're so, like, smart, and their little noses, and where do you draw the line of cute? Because it's like, anyways, Yeah, there's a whole tangent that I could go off on, but it's basically I fortify, I do it, and I come inside and get drunk and watch cartoons and cry a lot. But, next question.
Do you guys have business cards? I just got mine and they're so great.
Woo! The question is, do we have business cards? And the answer is yes. We get ours from gotprint.com. And we're about to need new ones because we had ordered like 3,000 business cards and then started doing YouTube. So our business cards currently don't have any of either of our YouTube information on them, but it's like we have to burn through them. So...
when we buy in 15 pounds.
Yeah, because when we buy in bulk.
15 pounds. Okay.
Okay.
Is your black kitty with a white belly still around?
The question is about Mila. Is she still around? And she was the neighbor's cat. Their daughter had gone off to visit family over spring break, so they put the cat outside. And then I kidnapped her. And so whenever I brought her back outside, she was going like stir crazy. They were like, "Oh, our cat," and took her back inside. So she's living in her house again. I'm so sorry. I'm really going to be more careful about not kidnapping my neighbor's pets in the future. But she didn't have tags or anything. Okay, next question.
Do you go to craft shows to sell?
The question is, do I go to craft shows to sell? And I do about 1 or 2 a year. Last year we only fit 1 in, and this year we're probably only going to do 1 again. And it's because it's so dependent on the weather that it was too much of a gamble doing a lot of craft shows that unless they're local, we don't really do them because there's no guarantee we're going to get our money back, so we try to keep them as low investment as possible, if that makes sense. But because we'll travel across the country for an indoor show because it's not like, but what if it rains? Then that doesn't matter. Next question.
Who is your favorite actor or actress?
Who is my favorite actor or actress? Or both. I don't know. That's a really good question. I don't know if I have an answer for that because it's like I don't fall in love with the actors or actresses. I fall in love with the characters. And there are too many characters and too many stories that my life would be incomplete without. That it's like, ooh, I don't know. I don't know how to answer that. Probably my favorite actor that I've met in person is Sonny Strait. I used to go to church with him, and he's awesome. So he's a voice actor for Funimation, and he also does a lot of his own work, and he's just a really, really cool person. And he definitely was an inspiration to me whenever I was in high school, and I got to see somebody making a living off of living their dream. So that was pretty cool. Next question.
Favorite bands? I assume music.
The question is my favorite bands. I don't know, but my favorite musician is FC Chadwick. He's here on YouTube. He's my stepdad. He's amazing. Next question.
Do you bartend? And if so, what things are you interested in?
You mean barter?
Yeah.
Okay. Sometimes we barter. Like I've had some folks who've been sending me things, and I make something and send it back to them in return. And it's really on an individual basis. And if you're gonna do that, though, please keep in mind that I have incredibly overextended myself, and it could be up to 3 months before I'm able to actually get to your piece. So please be patient with me. Okay, next question.
Where are you from, and where do you currently live?
The question is, where am I from, and where do I currently live? And this is a complicated question because I've moved almost every 3 years for my entire life. Born in northern Ohio, spent a lot of time in southern Ohio, kind of bouncing around. When my dad passed away, I moved to Texas, and then finished up high school. Well, I did 3 years of high school there. Then I met Randy, and we moved to Tennessee, southern Tennessee, where I finished high school, where we lived in that area for 10 years, but still kind of bouncing around between houses and apartments. And then we moved here to Missouri. So, and there's no telling where we'll go next. So, next question.
How old are you?
The question is, how old am I? Am I 28 or 29? I think I'll be turning 29 this year. Yeah, because I'll be 30 in 2018. Pretty cool. I'm excited about that. Next question.
That's it.
Oh, that's it?
That's it.
Okay. Well, this one says, can we send things to you if we want to? I don't care about getting anything in return. It might not be very good. Oh. Well, if you want to send stuff to me, you can send it to Yvonne Williams, which is my channel name, has the spelling in it, but P.O. Box 238. Is that right? 238? Okay. Oh, yeah. Randy wrote it in there. But for those of you who are watching this after the live stream, P.O. Box 238, Carthage, Missouri, 64836. And yeah, it's... Okay. How dare you ask a woman her age? I don't mind a bit because I know that the ravages of time, like, this didn't really start out that good to start with, so it's like I'm banking on my good personality.
When's your birthday?
The question is, when's my birthday? I hope you're not stealing my identity or anything. But it's August 6th. It's my birthday. I'm a Leo. Woo! Are you serious?
No.
Okay. Randy's, I don't know if you guys heard it, but he said, what's your social security and are you allergic to anything? I'm not telling you guys that. Oh, well, hey, Anne. She says, hi, Yvonne. I'm so excited. This is the first time I actually made a live show. Oh, you're in Australia? Hot dog. Okay. Right on. Well, we kind of went a little over. We usually try to keep these at an hour, but we're at almost an hour 40.
Oh, 2 hours, wow.
Yeah. Right on. But I'm going to let you guys go because I have to go to the bathroom. And I'm out of coffee. So thanks you guys so much for coming and hanging out with us. If you're watching this after the live stream, please leave me a comment down below and I can still answer your questions. Thank you everyone who's been sending me messages and emails and who has not, like, gotten really, really mad at me for not replying back as soon as I would have liked, because I'm just completely overwhelmed right now. Oh no! I'll take some aspirin for the sunburn. Let's see. What's up? The mailman. He's here to kill us all. No, I think this is a school bus, so honey. But yeah, if you guys enjoy my free tutorials and would like to support the creation of more of them, please check us out on Patreon. For just $1 a month, it puts your name in the hat to win a one-of-a-kind fairy house that we do 2 giveaways. So two opportunities a month to win a one-of-a-kind house or wire sculpted tree or art print or whatever we're doing for that month. If you pledge $5, it puts your name in the hat 5 times, which greatly increases your odds. This also gives you VIP access to all of our giveaways across all of my different social media. So if you're a patron, you don't have to comment or like or share anything on Facebook or Instagram or DeviantArt or just whatever we're doing. You're already entered. Also, it's not too late to participate in our April seed giveaway. If you go through in our playlist, it's the mailman. One day he's gonna kill us all, and the dogs will say, "I told you so."
Well, he stole your DNA.
He what?
Apparently he stole.
Oh yeah, I started blaming the mailman for when, like, I lose my shoes and stuff. But yeah, and if you pledge $10 or more on Patreon, you get like gifts or kits and materials. Like, you get to choose each month if you'd rather have something that I handmade or if you'd rather have kits and materials geared towards what our tutorials were about this month. So thank you guys so much. Give yourselves a big hug for me because I love all of you. We'll see you guys around. Did I click here? Yeah. Maybe?